We really got a spoon battle out of nowhere. This is weird. Hello guys, it's 899 here and welcome to today's video, and today we're going to go through our tips predictions for round 25 of the 2026 NRL season. Last week we ended up with 5 out of 8, so we're looking to get a little bit better as we're starting to, we're at the end point. It's where it gets interesting. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Starting off on Thursday night, we have the Melbourne Storm taking on the Penrith Panthers. The Storm are coming off a bye, whilst the Panthers are coming off a low scoring but one of the better games so far this season in a loss to the Roosters, which has seen the Panthers drop out of top spot for the first time in a considerate while. Now, obviously, the Storm will have to have a lot of things go in their favour, currently with a 6-point gap between them and the finals places, with the Cowboys having the bye this week. So basically, Storm lose, that's it. They missed the finals for the first time since 2010, which in fairness was because they got caught cheating. And obviously a win for the Panthers here would temporarily have them back on top of the table before the potential Roosters coming back up when they play later on this week. It's going to be an interesting game to see how it does all play out, but I think Penrith win this and the Storm officially get the line put through them. Now we go into the Friday matches, where at 6 p.m. we have the Canberra Raiders against the Brisbane Broncos. This was a qualifying final last year. Difference a year makes. The Canberra Raiders coming off a win away from home against the Great White Lions, whilst the Broncos are coming off just being absolutely smacked up by the Warriors at home. Now, there actually is mathematically a chance Canberra can get into the finals. A metric fuck ton of things have to happen for it to occur, but because Canberra actually have the bye next week, so if they get the 30 points, they would have to smash everybody, but they would have to, and a lot of results to go in their way. But so if the Raiders lose this, they're out of finals contention. And if the Broncos lose this, they could very realistically be in a potential drop on potentially getting the wooden spoon, which would be really funny. But in terms of how I think this game plays out, I just think Canberra just look coming into this as the better team, and I just think they're going to get the job done. And now we go on to the 8 p.m. game on Friday, as we have the Dolphins taking on the Parramatta Eels. The Dolphins are coming off holding Manly to 0 in a 22-0 win, whilst Parramatta were able to just edge out in one of the games of the season against the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, the Dolphins already in the top 4, they're already going to be in the finals, but a win here and results going in their favour could see a best result where they have a 4-point gap of dropping out of the top 4. Whilst Parramatta, unfortunately, aren't going to be in the finals but they are starting to get better performances out of them as they look to finish strong and hopefully build upon this for 2027. As much as I want to say that I think Parramatta can win this and get the upset, I do think this could be a closer game, but the Dolphins have just been too good at the moment, and I think they should get the job done here. Now we go on to the Saturday matches, where at 3 p.m. we have the Newcastle Knights taking on the Manly Sea Eagles. The Knights are coming off not exactly the greatest of performances, but were able to get the job done nonetheless against the Gold Coast Titans to secure finals football. And in the previous mention, Manly were held to 0 as they pretty much now need to win to keep their finals hopes alive. Obviously, their 6-point gap with the factor of there being the Cowboys with the bye means that Manly need to win this game if they want any hope of being in the finals. A win for the Knights. They're already in, I guess, safety for the finals. It's just about now, they're going to vie for a home final, which would be nice. So it's going to be one of those interesting games, especially being Manly. Fosbull has fallen off the track a little bit, but I don't know, this game used to be a thing in a big thing in the mid-90s. So in terms of how I think this match will go down, it'll be close. I might back the boys. I think the Knights might just edge it out, and it could really set up a possibility where the Knights do end up getting a home final. It should be interesting because next week we play the Warriors in New Zealand, which, I don't know how that's going to go. Speaking of the Warriors, they're in the next match at 5:30 as they play away to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. South Sydney are coming off a win over the Bulldogs to keep their finals hopes running, whilst the Warriors won the real battle of Brisbane, almost putting 50 on the Broncos. And this is where it gets interesting here, as a win for the Warriors would get them onto 38 points, which, depending on results, could see them possibly finish this round top of the table, whilst for South Sydney, a win here, 32 points, and with results going in their favour, could have them in the home final spots in around 6th place, but obviously that would require the Knights to lose. So this is going to be quite an important game for both teams, more so for South Sydney. I think this is going to be a very close game, very close. I reckon possible golden point is what we're talking about, but I'm going to say that I think the Warriors will be able to get this one done. It'll be interesting, but yeah, God knows what happens. And now we go to 7:35 at Allianz Stadium, where we have the St George Illawarra Dragons taking on the Canterbury Bulldogs. The Dragons are coming off a close win over the West Tigers to keep the possibility of them not getting the wooden spoon alive, whilst the Bulldogs are coming off just a bit of a disappointing performance against South Sydney, which has kind of put a damper in with their finals hopes. Now, a win here for the Dragons could see them only 2 points behind the Broncos and start closing in the gap of the for and against, where possibility could come down to the final match day. But obviously now with the Bulldogs now a 4-point gap between them and the finals places, this is must win. And basically this is a lot of context. It's either the Bulldogs win and they're, very close to trying to creep into the finals. The Dragons win, they get the wooden spoon race to be a lot more funny. And you know what? Keep the hilarity going. I'm going to say I think the Dragons win this. I'm sorry, Bulldogs fans, but, if the Bulldogs know about meme potential, I know you just want to make the finals and whatnot, but for meme potential, do the right thing. Lay down. And now we go into the Sunday games, where at 2 p.m. we have the Gold Coast Titans taking on the Cronulla Sharks. The Titans are coming off a alright performance against the Newcastle Knights, where a couple of late tries made it a little bit closer than what it really was, as the Cronulla Sharks, for some reason, decide to get the fucking August jitters again. Cronulla, yous could be genuinely a good team, but for some reason, yous give me the shits. A win here for the Titans in a best case scenario could actually have them overtake the West Tigers into 14th. But obviously, not really much vying on for this season. As for the Cronulla Sharks, a win here, and if the Dolphins were to lose, they would actually see the Sharks creep into the bottom 4. However, a win here for the Sharks, if the Dolphins were to lose, would see the Sharks enter the top 4, which it means you know what's going to happen here when that opportunity comes up. Yeah, I've given enough fair aboutisms for Cronulla. We're tipping the Titans to win this. If Cronulla don't win this, God help them. And now we go into the final game of the round, Sunday 4 or 5 p.m. at Allianz Stadium. It is the Sydney Roosters against the West Tigers. The Roosters are coming off a win over the Penrith Panthers to have them cemented at the top of the NRL ladder, whilst the West Tigers come off close in a loss to the St George Illawarra Dragons. Now, the betting market, kind of funny. Roosters paying $1.07. West Tigers, $8.50. Yeah, this is kind of how it's been for both teams' seasons. Now, obviously, a win here for the Roosters would keep them at the top of the table. With the best case scenario, they have a 4-point gap, but that would require the Panthers and the Warriors to lose. And a win here for the West Tigers, depending on how results go between the Parramatta and the Dolphins, would actually see the Tigers get out of the bottom 4. In saying this, I don't know. I mean, it's worth probably chucking a little bit of money on the $8.50, just in case. But I just don't see this happening. I think the Roosters win this. I know, controversial. I know I'm a coward. But I'm going to say, the Roosters win this. And that's going to be the end of the round of predictions. Who do you guys have this week? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. And I'll see you all later.
And the sun gonna shine.